Today is the 18th of March 2020, and I've already had a number of my freelance projects get cancelled. I've also been asked to stay at home and practice social distancing, so I'm going to be spending plenty of time at home with less money to pay the bills for now, and no one knows how long this is going to last. So I've come up with a bit of a plan to try and make the best of the situation, and I figured I'd share it here since you might be in the same boat as me. Now, I have to say, I don't know if I'm overreacting or underreacting to this whole situation. I'm obviously not qualified to talk about medical things or the wider economics of the film and advertising industry, so I'm not going to just chuck my opinion in. But I can say this with certainty: this has already affected and will continue to affect filmmakers, particularly those who are freelance or working as part of a small business. Now, if you're in that situation, as I am, where you are in the creative industry and you don't have a steady monthly paycheck, then it's probably worth having a plan, in case more shoots continue to get cancelled and we have to stay at home in isolation for more than a week. So here's my list of things to do that shouldn't spread any illness, but will hopefully give me the chance to be productive while I'm staying at home, to make a bit of money, and also to just kind of stay sane during all of this. So let's start with money, because hey, we've all got to eat. Now, I think the first thing to do is to look for ways to cut back on spending a little bit. It's not the time to be buying new equipment. It's not the time to be buying a new t-shirt. Basically anything unnecessary, I'm just totally stopping that. Really got to just save some money in case jobs continue to get cancelled. And then the next thing is, obviously I've moved all of my meetings over to calls and Skypes so that I can continue to meet new people and network and, find people to collaborate with without leaving home. For many of us though, that really won't be enough. We've got to find some ways to make some income without leaving the house. Now, I think for me, I'm quite lucky in that I've got a lot of writing I can do, I've got a lot of editing I can do in the next couple of months, and I can even film at home if I have to. But of course, outside of that, there's always the possibility of getting some editing jobs where you can work remotely doing editing or sound or color grading, depending on what your skills are. And if this continues, then at some point I'll go through all of my old projects and find footage that I can upload to a stock footage website to sell. Now, I'd be willing to bet that every filmmaker has some kind of admin tasks that they've had on their to-do list for far too long. And so I know that I'm going to be trying to get some of those done. And although that won't make me any money in the short term, hopefully it'll save me time in the future. And so it is worthwhile. So maybe it's redesigning my website or updating my social media, even cutting a new show reel. Plus, it would be good to look over my kind of backup system, so make sure that all of my old projects are archived and that I'll be able to organize all the folders so that everything is safe and easy to access. Now, of course, life isn't just about earning money and saving time. So if we're able to, this could also be a good opportunity to really hunker down and write that screenplay, I've been learning a new piece of editing software in these last couple of days, which is something I've been meaning to do for genuinely years. And it makes me think about improving my color grading process or jumping into Blender, the free 3D software. If I can do any of that, then it'll be a good investment in my future and also probably much better use of my time than just constantly scrolling through Twitter to see the latest news. Okay, so between learning new skills, knocking things off the to-do list, and also trying to earn some money, then I think we've got plenty of things to do. So the next question is, how do we actually get through these days? Now, of course, I've heard the usual advice to set working hours with breaks in between, to eat healthily and do as much exercise as you can, and that's of course all valid. But also, if I'm going to be spending a lot of time at home, then I should probably spend a bit more time clearing up the place, make sure it's nice and tidy, a nice space to be. Aside from that, I've also been setting aside time to call friends and family. It's really good to check in with people and see how they're doing, but also just to kind of chat and laugh and talk about things that aren't work or illness related. Now, I'm grateful that I do have some savings in case my work dries up for a couple of months. And I'm also very grateful to be young, healthy, and able to work from home. Obviously people working in hospitals, people in the service industry can't work from home. And so I think if you're in a situation like me, then we should probably be thinking about what we can do to help people who are going to be far more affected. Sure, we can stay inside and we can wash our hands regularly. That stuff's easy enough. But if we can donate money, or if we can help the people around us to get the things that they need, then that stuff will make a much bigger difference, hopefully. Of course, I do have to admit that even though I've made this whole plan, I'm not really expecting to come out of this whole thing having completely finished my to-do list and learned to play the violin, you know. I can't expect to be productive in every single hour, and I probably will still spend too much time on Twitter. But I think the idea is that everything on this list is worth doing. Pandemic or not, if I manage to spend 8 hours a day doing this stuff or just 4, it's all worth doing. I have to say that just coming up with this list was strangely therapeutic. I guess it's because there's so much that we don't know. There's so much uncertainty about what's going to happen. And so just taking a minute to think about the things that we can do and the things that we can control is very helpful. So I'd strongly recommend that you have a little think about your plan if you're in any kind of similar situation. And, you know, if you like, you can write it in the comments, because I'm sure there are other people who would like to hear from you, and we can all kind of learn from each other. So yeah, that's it for this week, and we'll talk soon.